Welcome to WPCampus 2020 Online. I am here to tell you to stop worrying about your theme. So a little bit about myself. My name is Andy Rush. I'm a course media developer at the University of North Florida. I'm an educator, a bit of a tinkerer, a creator, a media guy. What I'm not is a programmer. What I can say is that I've been using WordPress for about, or since 2005. I worked with the folks who brought Domain of One Zone to the University of Mary Washington, and I tinkered and created and media guide there until about September of 2015. So just to give you an orientation as to where I'm presenting from, I'm less than 10 minutes or 10 miles to the ocean. Sometimes it takes 10 minutes. But I came here not only to be closer to the beach, but also to bring Domain of One Zone to UNF, to University of North Florida. What did I discover when I got here, besides the oldest European settlements in the US? That I was on my own to manage faculty websites. What did I feel like when I discovered Elementor a year into the project? Okay, so just to be clear, there's going to be no less than 4 references to Dr. Strangelove or Stanley Kubrick in this presentation, so bear with me. There's a couple more to come. But my approach for this presentation is to answer questions that I had in the beginning. How to navigate this thing called Elementor when it comes to WordPress. A lot has changed since I began using Elementor, but one of my first questions was, is it a theme? Now, before I answer that, tell me if you've done this before. You've gone to the WordPress theme repository and you searched for the perfect theme. You go through endless configuration just to get it to look like the screenshot, and then you find the fatal flaw. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the fatal flaw is because we all have our own personal fatal flaws that we find. The point is that we can't find that perfect theme, and then we resort to what we call theme wrangling to try to get it close. And then by the time we're done, we're sick of it. Lather, rinse, repeat. Now, I want to show you my cool new website with just the coolest theme. All right, so maybe it's not so cool. Now, why do I show you a theme that was created circa 2005 in the era of WordPress 1.5? We're now almost up to 5.5. It's to demonstrate that themes don't matter as much as they used to, or that they matter in a different way. Okay, so what I want to do now is kind of go into demo mode and show you a little bit about how Elementor works. And this hopefully will answer some of the questions that you might have if you have no idea what Elementor does. Okay, I'm going to go to, here's the opening page. This is the blog. So here's some blog posts on what was typically known as the archive page. I'm going to go to the About page. And this might be a sample About page that you could use. Here's a picture of this, we'll call him a faculty member. His name is John Faculty. And here's just some placeholder text that we can put there. And there's links to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and so on. Okay, so that's a typical page. There's another one that I want to just point your attention to, and that's this site demo page. And this one looks really weird right now. If I scroll down, I've got some weird looking stuff, some basic content, a Google map, and then we'll go back to our home page here. So that is this site without Elementor. What I'm going to do next is go to the dashboard, and I'm going to go to plugins. And the first thing that I'll do is activate the basic free Elementor plugin. So we'll click on activate. We're going to go back to the home page. And not a whole lot's happened. which is fine. That's what we expect. Hopefully that's going to be the way this presentation goes throughout this, is it does exactly what I expect it to. We're going to go back to the About page. This one should look a little bit different. So what we essentially have is Elementor is doing its work on the content stuff, but the old Kubrick header and footer are still in place. Okay, so just the first initial kind of look at the Elementor editor. I'm going to click on Edit with Elementor in the admin bar. And so here's what this page looks like to Elementor. All right, if you scroll around in this space here, you've got different things, different components that make up the page. So this is the heading widget. So you'll notice over in the sidebar over here, it's Edit Heading. This is the text editor widget. This is an image widget. And these are the places where you go in and make those changes that you want to your page. If I had made any changes, I would click on the Update button and those changes would get committed to the page. I'm just going to go back to the site, or go back to this page, and just again remind you that this is the stuff that's in the middle without the header and footer. Let's go back to the home page for a second, and we're going to go back to that site demo page that we looked at. This one looks quite a bit. The idea is that we've completely taken over this page and taken over this website in a sense, and we've got a lot of stuff going on kind of on this page. So we've got the top section, we got a middle section that tells a little bit about the faculty member, and then a contact page and a map and that kind of thing. Okay. So but nothing has changed to our blog, right? So I just want to kind of give you the idea of what changes as we use the free version of Elementor. There's also this Coming Soon page that takes advantage of Elementor, but it doesn't do anything with the blog, all right? The next thing we're going to do is go to the customizer, and we're going to switch themes. So I'm going to change my theme from the default to 2020. And we'll activate that theme. So what you probably noticed with the old Kubrick theme is that there weren't any featured images. I don't know if even featured images existed way back then, but this is the 2020 theme, and these are the blog posts with the featured images. Okay, here's our About page. It looks a little bit different as well. So we've got the header at the top, and we've got a little bit of a footer, and that is being provided by the 2020 theme. Okay, so it looks a little bit better than what you would get with the standard theme. All right, if we go in and edit with Elementor, nothing has really changed. We're just editing that middle part. You might see the color of the 2020 footer down here, but this is still kind of the same editing space. Now, what I want to show you that may help you also with how Elementor works is on this settings page, you've got some different page layouts. And the three that we're going to look at are default, Elementor Canvas, and Elementor Full Width. All right. If I choose Elementor Full Width, it will give me the header and the footer kind of to look at. All right. But that's not how we necessarily want to display this page. The other choice is to go and choose default. Okay, and that gives a little bit more information. So it really depends on what you've got selected here. But what we want to do is switch it back to just the canvas. Okay. And with some themes, this isn't going to matter all that much, but just want to make sure that you kind of understand that default kind of takes the theme, and then the stuff you put in canvas takes over everything. Let me see if I can't make that a little bit clearer. I'm going to go and view the page. And we're going to go to the site demo. One of the other things that you might see is a little glitch. So with the 2020 theme, we have this little L kind of hanging down in the bottom. We probably could go in and make that change. But let me just go in and edit in Elementor and show you again what the difference is. So this is right now in canvas mode. It takes over the whole page. So that's why you don't see the information with the footers and headers and that kind of thing. This actually won't be exposed in the page. So there's no header at the top, no footer at the bottom. If I go to the settings page and I choose full width, then my headers will come back. And so I could make this not a canvas page, but the full width page with the headers and the footers. So you can kind of use this combination of what the theme gives you in terms of headers and footers, and then the space in between the content. All right. I'm going to not make any of those changes, and I'm just going to go back and view this page. Okay. I'll go back to the home page. All right, let's go to the customizer one more time. We're going to change the theme to this one called Hello Elementor. We'll do the live preview. We'll activate and publish. And so what you're seeing now, again, is the archives page. And you've got the featured images for each of the blog posts here. But the governing principle that's controlling the display of this is the Hello Elementor theme. You've got the Hello Elementor header, and then no footer, because there's no footer with this particular theme. So just want to kind of show you what gets controlled and what doesn't get controlled by Elementor, and where the theme comes in. Okay, I'm going to switch back to the Kubrick theme one last time because I know it's a favorite of everyone's. Okay, and what I want to do next is turn on Elementor Pro. So I'm going to make sure that I activate this and close our customizer window. I'm going to go to the dashboard. We will go down to plugins, and what I'm going to activate is the Elementor Pro plugin. So we'll click on activate. We will go to the site, and now things are quite a bit different. This is a customized header that is created in Elementor. This is a customized footer created in Elementor, and then we have the blog posts themselves. So this is the archives page, the home page. If I click on a post, this is what, here's our featured image and then the rest of the description. I've also got my about page. That will now change to using the Pro header feature and the footer. And also we've got a CV page that is styled, and the courses page. The rest of these I think are private, but because you'll see that up in the corner here. So we've got the other Elementor pages that are a part of this website. Before I talk about anything else, I want to let you know about the pricing of this, and I need to just bring up one more site here. Maybe you just want to know the cost of this. Okay, so Elementor Pro version 3. The free version gives you any number of sites. You can put Elementor in any site that you want to. It's $0. If you want Elementor Pro for one site, it's $49 a year. This isn't a paid sponsorship presentation, by the way. I want to let you know up front what we're dealing with. If you want to do 3 sites, $99 a year. And then what we use at the University of North Florida for our faculty domains project is the expert version. So for $200 a year, you get Pro on 1,000 sites. We're nowhere near that. We've got probably a couple dozen people who are using Elementor Pro. All right, so we'll close that. And we'll come back to this build anything page in just a bit. Okay. Next, so just real quickly, the basic elements, the basic widgets in Elementor are free, and then the Pro elements are part of the Pro package. It allows you to change things like the footers and the headers, and also customizing custom posts, and archive pages, search archives, 404 pages, all that kind of thing. Okay. So if you've got a nice theme with a good kind of archive page and single post setup, you may not need anything more than the free page. That is, you have to kind of figure out what of those widgets and control you want to have over the entire website. So that's the decision that you need to make about free versus pro. Okay. So Elementor kind of keeps or eliminates the need to pick a theme. You pick a template instead. So what I want to do next is show you the back end of how we manage UNF faculty domains. It's with a program called WHM. It stands for Web Host Manager. And this is the area where I would go in and manage all the different sites that are out there. This is, I'm not showing the whole interface. I'm just showing a couple of the areas that I want you to see right now, because there's a whole bunch of other usernames and email addresses, and we don't want to put that out in the public. But essentially what we want to do is create some different faculty pages. All right. So let me see if we can get to. If faculty go in and create their domain space in UNF faculty domains, and they choose to install WordPress, this would be what they would get as the default template. Okay, it's a home page. There's some about text. There's a CV page, etc. Okay, what we want to do is give them a few more capabilities and get their page to look like this. Okay. Scroll down, and there's some interesting graphics, and things are starting to look nice and are put together quite well. And there's some other pages associated with this site. Okay. So what I want to do next is I want to actually install this and show you what the template looks like. So I'm going to go to my control panel, and I'm going to go to WordPress. And I'm going to install this application. So I'm showing you what Installatron looks like in domains, and the faculty would see this. And what I want to do is just create a website here and show you this version section. So the progression basically is we start with a WordPress clean install, and then we build the faculty template. Okay, so the one that you saw here. Hang on one second. The one you saw here, okay, with the 2020 theme, Hello World, basic installation, okay? We're going to get to this one that gives us the full template that you saw. But what we're going to do is this intermediate one, and we're going to build the website, okay? So we'll go down, we'll scroll past this stuff, we'll keep everything at the defaults, and we'll click on install. So while we're waiting, one of the things that that stuff's going to happen in the background, so I'm just stalling for time. But basically, I've got some examples on this Build Anything page, and all these links will be in my presentation notes. But I'm going to scroll down and choose plugins. One of the things that Elementor also does is it eliminates the need for several plugins. Okay, so this page will actually talk about which ones those are. All right, so you've got a maintenance mode and coming soon widget. Or plugin for, and I shouldn't say plugin, they're widgets in Elementor. But these widgets can do maintenance mode, they can do form building, they can do a media carousel, they can do gallery and lightbox widgets, Google Maps widget, table of contents, sliders, and more. Okay, let's switch back to our site here, and we should have it up and running. So here's the one that we just created. I'm going to click on the admin link to get into this brand new website. And just like I said, it should look like the one that we created or that I showed you before. This is the new website with the Hello World post, the About, Courses, Research, Service pages. Okay. The next thing I'll do is go into the themes area. And these are the themes that faculty will have when they go install this WordPress template. Okay. And we'll show you a little bit about creating the templates in a little bit. So right now it's using the 2020 theme. I've got a couple other themes, this one called Astra, and then good old 2016 as another option. Okay. Let's go to Astra. I'm going to activate the Astra theme. Okay. And we'll visit the site. We'll see what it looks like now. So it looks a little bit different than our original site. Okay. Let's go back into the dashboard. And then the next thing that you want to do, let's refresh this, is in the appearance section, you're going to have Astra options. The purpose of showing you this section of Astra is to show you kind of the easy way to get into Elementor, all right? What we'll do, and there's starter templates that you can get more information and even see a preview of what some of those templates are going to look like. But what we want to do is enable this capability. So we're going to install the importer plugin, and shouldn't take but a few seconds to come back up and ask us about what page builder we want to use. Okay, so this will also work with some of the other page builders, but I'm using Elementor. So we're going to click on Elementor. And then what you're shown are some of the templates that are available, template websites actually, that you can use. Okay, we want to make sure that we don't get all excited and see these and say, hey, I like this one, but it's not free. So I'm going to choose all the free ones. And we'll scroll down just a little bit, and this might look somewhat familiar. This is the Life Coach template that they've got associated with it. So we're going to create a website that looks like this. So I'll click on it, and it'll also show you all the pages that it's going to create. And then I will click on Import Complete, and there we go. So it's going to do its thing, I think. Let's try it again. There we go. And it's going to ask us what we want to use, import, customize your settings, all this kind of stuff. We're going to leave all the defaults, and we're going to click on Import. This will take a little bit longer. So again, stalling for time. We're going to go back to our Build Anything page, and I'll just show you a couple of other examples that are here. So for example, we can build a portfolio page. And I've got thumbnails of the portfolio entries. So I'll just click on one of them to kind of show you what the page will look like. So this is all built in Elementor, and this is the Pro version. Okay. And the portfolio can be set up in such a way that you've got all these different thumbnails, but they can actually be broken down by category. So if I want to see all the forest portfolio items, I can switch to that. And there's a nice transition to that. If I want to see the tropical ones, like we have here in Florida, here's the palms, and then like a single tree. So there's just some kind of pretend categories that I came up with. If you want to see them all again, you can click back to all. There are some book templates. So we can promote our book. I'm going to go back and see if we're done. Yep, we're done. All right. So I don't have to stall for time anymore. I'm going to click on Visit Site. And here we are. So here's our page, and I would do something like swap this out for my name, but you can see that it looks fairly familiar. And you'll also know that there's actually a header. I'm sorry, there's a footer down at the bottom here. So I want to let you know, not only is this the free version, but you somehow have gotten access to, or the ability to do custom headers and footers in this, okay, or at least footers in this case. If I click on Edit with Elementor, this is where I can start to go in and change this template around. So I can go in here, and I'll actually change the title to just my name. All right. But if we go to the widgets page, and that's this button here, you'll notice that here's the basic widgets, and you've got all these different ones under basic. Here's all the ones under pro. There's a few more actual free ones down in the general section, but you'll notice under the pro area that there's a little lock, and it's pretty faint. You might not be able to see it, but there's a little lock feature here. And if you click on one of these, it'll say, well, hang on, Buster. You can see it in action in terms of how it works, but you can't actually use it yet until you go to the pro version. So this actually is the free version of the site. So I'm going to click on update and commit my change to my name here. Then I'll go back up into the hamburger menu item here and just choose view page so I can see the changes that I've made. All right. I'll go back up to the top, and again, here's the about page. There's another page that was created that says work for me or work with me. And this looks like a holdover from a form somewhere. We'll have to fix that. There's a books page and a contact page. And we can go back to the main site. So that's the idea behind putting together a website that faculty just kind of can go in and go through the process and install Elementor, and then they have it to use. Now, what if we don't want them to have to worry about that? We just want to give them this page. We don't want to have them go to the faculty template, go to Astra, install it. Only, I mean, if they want to. If they want to have that control, great. Let them go. But what if we want to just kind of give them this as the starting point? All right. Well, that will involve going back to our WHM. And what we're going to use is the Installatron Applications Installer feature. And what this basically does is gives us all the possibilities for Installatron, control of the applications, control of everything. So what I'll do is I'm going to go to My Applications, and I'm just going to search for Andy. And I created this crazy website right here that I can use as a template. Okay, so this is the one, it's actually got the old thumbnail, but this is the one that we created with Elementor and Astra and all that kind of stuff. All right. What I can do is click on this star here. It's the template feature in Installatron. So if I click on that and I give it a title like testy, and then a description, type in a description, and then click on template. I'm not going to do it because it may screw some things up. I don't want to worry about it. We've got it already created. But this is how you would create the template. It would go in and it would read everything that's in that website installation of WordPress and create a template for you. Okay. Let's go back to the main page of the Installatron applications installer, and we'll go down to templates. And we'll scroll down to the bottom, and we'll notice, and this will reflect what you saw when we installed WordPress in the first place. Empty content refers to a clean install. UNF faculty template refers to the Hello World 2020 version of the template that has the Astra theme built in, but it's not configured. And this one called Testy is the one that has everything installed for us. Okay, so I'm going to go back into my control panel area. I'm going to browse for WordPress. I'm going to click on install this application. I'll give it a directory name. I'll scroll down, and instead of using UNF faculty template, I'll use this one, which is the full version of the finished template with all those different pages. I'll scroll down, I'll click on install, I'll let it do its thing, and I think I have to stall for just a few more minutes, but I'll show you the process at least kind of get underway. So this is the current version of WordPress that's installing. It's going to copy all those files, all those directories, all those images. So let's go back and install for time and go back to our Build Anything page. And again, I'll link to this page in my notes. But a couple other examples. I've had some folks who wanted to put together a conference on their site and tell people about a particular conference in their discipline. So here's an example of a conference site that you can put together. This is Elementor Pro. So we got some different sections, and the site looks nice. It's got some nice animations that kind of make it a little bit more of a dynamic site. So there's really a ton of different templates out there. And really the thing that you need to worry about is just kind of wrangling all the resources and where to find templates and blocks and things to put into your website. So let's go back to WordPress and see if our site is done. And it looks like it is. I'm going to go into the admin, to the dashboard of the site that we just created. And then I'll view the page, the website. And here it is. So this is the site that a faculty member would have if they just simply used that template called Testy. And this is what they will get. And then they can go in and they can edit the site with the Elementor editor. And again, this is just, everything is done with the free version. All right, so again, these have the little locks on them. You can't use the pro stuff until you get the pro version installed. Okay, so basically the progression is, you go from the clean install to the UNF faculty template with the stuff you need to build stuff, and then you can also have the fancy schmancy version of your website using Elementor, and again, the free version. All right, so we're almost complete here. I'm going to go back to my presentation and talk a little bit about maybe something that you've been thinking about, and that's, where does Gutenberg fit into all of this? I won't click on the link here because it's going to go into another page, but just so that you know, there is a Gutenberg or an Elementor block for Gutenberg. So essentially, when you're in the Gutenberg editor, you've got the ability to bring in Elementor content. So there are some integrations that kind of go back and forth. So I'll have both of these, both of these links that are available in the slides and also in the resources page. Let's go to, bear with me just a second. We're going to find it, I promise. I've got too many tabs. Isn't that the way life is? Well, let's get there this way. Okay. So this particular website looks, again, similar. Here's our hello world. All right. We'll go to the dashboard and notice that we've got WordPress 5.5 beta 3-48 whatever. So we're using WordPress beta right now. If you need to know how to do this, if you go to installed plugins, what you're going to do is you're going to look for WordPress beta tester, and you can get the latest releases. The full version apparently of WordPress 5.5 is coming out in just a couple of weeks, so you can get that soon. But if you want to test it before you get it, you can go here. But basically what I want to show you is if I edit this Hello World post, the editor in WordPress looks a little bit different now in terms of Gutenberg. If I want to add a section or a block to this, a Gutenberg block, sometimes you'll see the plus signs here, and actually if I click in the paragraph area and whoops, that's not what I want to do. Let's go here. You'll get the little plus sign, and you'll get the little inline chooser, all right? But there's a new way to kind of look at things. If I click on this plus button here, hey, the blocks are now in a sidebar on the left-hand side. And now this looks kind of like, I don't know, what would you describe it? It kind of looks like Elementor, maybe, sort of, kind of. So this is where you would go and you would pick in the widgets that will go into your page. So if I want to do like let's just choose video for the sake of video guy. You can go in and upload media, or you can choose from the library. If you want to put in a quote, you can put in a quote below that, type in some text. So just wanted to show you that maybe there's kind of a convergence of technologies where Gutenberg and the blocks are going to look a lot more like Elementor. I don't know if they took them as the starting point or the template, but you might forget which interface you're in. But I just wanted to kind of show you what was up with WordPress 5.5 and the Gutenberg editor, and how that's going to come in here. Working better in the situation. You can build pages and content in the center and then have your headers and footers. So there's a whole different bunch of combinations that I can't begin to get into, but I just want to kind of show you this in the editor. All right. Let's go to the dashboard, and I'm going to leave this page. All right. And the last thing that I'll show you is under themes. I saw an interesting demo with this Cadence theme, and then also with a plugin called Gutenberg Blocks for Cadence. And this was something that really kind of piqued my attention because it starts to look a little bit like Elementor. So without getting Elementor at all, you could go in, install the Cadence theme, the Cadence blocks, and get something that looks really fancy like Elementor does. So just wanted to mention it. Let me go back to my presentation and just wind things up here. I'm not going to show, there's a video here, I'm not going to show it. I'm just going to go straight to my ending of the session. Don't forget to give me some session feedback. Be gentle with me because I did a live presentation of this stuff, and luckily not too many things broke, but I'm happy to take any questions. But I do want to just kind of point that we've got the demo sites that I showed, the starting pages, the Build Anything page, the Jane and John faculty pages, the sandbox demo where we had the About page, and the site demo, using Elementor and turning off Elementor. Just to kind of recap, choosing a theme, these are some of the themes that we worked with. Creating a template for Domain in One's Own, installing WordPress. Again, we went from a clean install to the faculty template, and then started with the faculty template and went to the fancy schmancy template. And in combination with all that stuff, we can build a template for faculty to use, like an install of things that they can use to get their nice looking website. And then again, with Gutenberg, you've got the plugin, you've got the Cadence and theme and the Cadence Gutenberg blocks. And then just some basic notes with what I used for this presentation, which is the slide and presentations plugin. It's Reveal.js, if anybody's familiar with that. The pricing document for Elementor, a little bit of the secret of the history of the Kubrick theme, and end with a link to Dr. Strangelove. And that is it. Welcome to take any questions right now. If you want to hit me offline, my email address is andy.rush@unf.edu. is on this page or on my WPCampus 2020 online page. So I'm happy to end my presentation right now and take any questions that people might have.
All right, thanks a lot, Andy. I have a couple questions. We got about 5 minutes, so I'm going to do my best to get through as many as I can. The first question is, hi, Andy. My university uses Divi. We are finding it nearly impossible to get good performance with Divi. How's Elementor doing for you in the performance/page speed area specifically, especially if there are multiple images in a landing page type format?
Great question, and it reminded me of something that I didn't necessarily cover. So I think the performance is pretty good. The way that these pages get built, and I wasn't able to demonstrate this either, is in JSON. And obviously you need to optimize your images, but once you optimize them, things come in pretty cleanly. And the advantage of that Hello Elementor theme is that it's very light. There's been some benchmarks out there that talk about it being one of the quickest pages or quickest themes to use to load pages. And then the stuff in Elementor just kind of loads on top of it. So I would say the performance is quite good. I haven't had any real issues with it. And I think pages came up fairly quickly. So I think that, in terms of the demonstration that I had here, that kind of answers that as well. I never tried Divi There's some other page builders that I've used, like Site Origin. I don't think I ever really played much with Beaver Builder because it was kind of like I found Elementor and it was the moment. I started using it and I've loved it ever since we started using it in 2018. So hope that answers your question.
So that's actually something you brought up at the tail end of that answer actually coincides with another question we had from another audience member that asked if you had used Beaver Builder because they're using that as their primary page builder and they're wondering how it relates compared to the products you're using.
Yeah, so again, I think it was a WordCamp in Jacksonville that I went to that somebody basically said, hey, if you're not using Elementor, you should really check it out. And I've been looking at something that would kind of build some really creative, really dynamic web pages. And so I tried Elementor, and it was kind of like, stop. I've found my editor. I've found the program that I need to use to create the pages that I want to. There's a learning curve. And what's been interesting is that Elementor has really been responsive to the feedback. And so all of the kinds of things that were part of a difficult learning curve have completely gone away. And I think Elementor is a really easy program to pick up. So again, to answer that question way back from the beginning, is it a theme? No, it's a plugin that gives you all this capability. And so in addition to like the Astra themes and the starter templates, Elementor gives you a lot of other themes, and they even are building these things called kits now. So if you want to just throw up a real quick real estate website, install the real estate kit. So I can't speak to other visual editors that are out there. The one that I've used the most other than Elementor has been Site Origin, and I don't know as very many people are using that anymore. It's not as visual. Elementor is just one of those things where you really can kind of visually see how things are going to go for the most part. And I stopped looking once I found Elementor. It's like I found, no, I won't go there, but I really like it. It's a great place, a great plugin to have. And it's great that we can use it on 1,000 sites, and hopefully we'll get to that point and we'll have to buy another $200 license for it. But good question.
I have one other question for you that I think will take up the rest of our time for this session. Another audience member had asked, how does Elementor compare to full site editing? With the note, I think you kind of identified that a little bit with 5.5, but full site editing would be included in a WordPress core release in the next several months. It seems like Elementor may become obsolete once full site editing has been released.
Great question. And nobody knows the answer, including me. And I'm not a programmer. And once upon a time, talked about before, you're looking for a theme that has everything built into it. So at some point, I stopped banging my head on the table to find the perfect theme. And if there is something close to a perfect theme that you can use to do a lot of stuff, it is that Astra theme, where you get Elementor built in and you can just go at a lot of different places from there. Now, what of this stuff is going to be built into core, and how close does Gutenberg get to Elementor? I think it can go a long way, but you still have to worry about modifying archive pages and those pages and search archives and 404s and a lot of the other stuff that you can only do. And I'll say not only do, you have to go into the code to change it otherwise. Elementor allows you to get in beyond the code, as I like to say, and change it visually. And it just kind of puts that stuff on top of everything that you see. So I'll be curious to see how long Elementor survives. People may know the term Sherlocking when it's in the Apple world, where Apple comes out with a new release of the operating system, and one of the features is killed because they've built it into the operating system. So I don't know when WordPress core builds in a full Elementor kind of ability. I imagine we're a few years away from that. And based on my experience with Gutenberg, I think I was really excited when I first found out about it. I started to use it and said, well, you may want to not want to use it all the time. You can use it here and there. And then I just got so frustrated. It was literally like typing lots of information into a Gutenberg paragraph block and losing it because I didn't switch off of it and it lost all my text. I just got away from using Gutenberg for the most part. And so I think there's a possibility of a convergence. I'm interested to try WordPress 5.5 with Gutenberg and its new kind of way to display the widgets and bring pages or bring widgets and blocks into a page. So I'll keep working with it, and I'll say uncle if Gutenberg does what Elementor can do for me right now. But until it does, Gutenberg works well on top of either a Gutenberg blocks page, or if you, like I have done on most of my sites, turned on the Classic Editor plugin so I can use Classic Editor on any of the pages that I use. I'm happy to switch to Gutenberg if it does all those things, but I can't see in the near future that Elementor goes anywhere.
All right. Thank you so much, Andy. I think we're about out of time, but for any additional questions, they'll be available in the chat for you to answer afterwards. But I appreciate you providing the session and for the presentation today.
Absolutely.